The city was gripped. A scandal had erupted. Lord Alistair Blackwood stood accused. He was a man of immense power and influence. The charges were grave: embezzlement on a grand scale, forgery of important documents. The newspapers called it the trial of the century. The public whispered his name in hushed tones. Everyone wondered if justice would truly prevail. The evidence seemed to mount against him, piece by damning piece. His downfall seemed almost certain, a spectacle for all to watch. The prosecution's case, however, rested heavily on one person, a seemingly ordinary accountant named Arthur Pendleton. Mr. Pendleton was not a man of note. He lived a quiet life in a modest suburban home. He kept to himself, a creature of routine, yet he had stumbled upon the truth. He had seen the ledgers. He knew where the bodies, metaphorically speaking, were buried. His testimony was the key. It was the single thread that could unravel Blackwood's empire of deceit. Without him, the case was merely circumstantial, a collection of maybes. Arthur Pendleton was therefore invaluable. He was the linchpin. The police knew this, the prosecution knew this, and, most worryingly, Lord Blackwood knew this. Pendleton was under constant police protection. He was moved to a secret safe house. The location was known to only a select few trusted individuals. He was meant to be untouchable, shielded from any potential harm. The weight of the entire city's expectation rested on his narrow shoulders. He understood the gravity. He was ready to speak. The significance of his testimony could not be overstated. It promised to expose the rot at the heart of high society. It could bring down a titan. The newspapers printed his blurred photograph daily. Reporters camped outside the courthouse, eager for any scrap of news. The pressure was immense. Lord Blackwood's lawyers were formidable, known for their ruthless tactics. They would try to discredit Pendleton. They would try to break him, but first, he had to make it to the stand. That was the crucial first step. The morning of his scheduled pre-trial deposition arrived. It was a grey, drizzly Tuesday. Detective Inspector Davies was in charge of Pendleton's security. Davies was a seasoned officer known for his meticulous nature. He arrived at the safe house at precisely 8 o'clock. He expected to find Pendleton ready, perhaps a little nervous. He knocked on the reinforced door. There was no answer. A flicker of unease began to stir within him. He knocked again, louder this time. Silence. With a growing sense of dread, Davies used his master key. The door creaked open. The small living room was empty. The air was still. A half-eaten plate of toast sat on the table. A newspaper lay folded, unread. Davies called out, "Mr. Pendleton?" His voice echoed unnaturally in the quiet space. He checked the bedroom. The bed was made, undisturbed. He checked the small bathroom, empty. Arthur Pendleton had vanished. He was gone, simply, utterly gone. Panic began to set in. How could this happen? The safe house was supposed to be impenetrable. There were 2 officers stationed outside, front and back. They reported nothing unusual. No forced entry. No sounds of a struggle. It was as if Pendleton had evaporated into thin air. Davies felt a cold knot tighten in his stomach. This was a disaster, a catastrophe for the case. He immediately radioed for backup. The news would send shockwaves through the city. The disappearance was baffling. There were no signs of a break-in. The windows were locked from the inside, except for one, a small bathroom window slightly ajar. It was too small for a man of Pendleton's build to pass through. Or so it seemed. There was no note, no message, just an eerie emptiness. The 2 officers on duty swore they had seen and heard nothing. Had they been negligent? Or was something far more sinister at play here? The questions mounted rapidly. Inspector Davies launched an immediate, frantic investigation. His team swarmed the safe house. Every inch was dusted for fingerprints. Every scrap of paper was examined. They interviewed the shaken officers on duty. Their stories were consistent. They had patrolled regularly. They had remained vigilant, or so they claimed. Davies had his doubts. Someone, somewhere had slipped up. Or perhaps, someone had been exceptionally clever. The search expanded to the surrounding neighborhood. They questioned Pendleton's few known associates. His reclusive sister claimed he had seemed agitated in recent days. He had spoken of feeling watched. Was this paranoia, or a genuine fear? A local shopkeeper recalled seeing a dark, unfamiliar car parked down the street late the previous night. He couldn't remember the license plate. A vague description of the driver was all he could offer. It was a frustratingly thin lead. The trail was growing colder by the hour. Lord Blackwood, when questioned, expressed polite surprise, his face an impassive mask. The pressure from Davies's superiors was immense. The media was having a field day. Headlines screamed of incompetence and conspiracy. "Witness gone! Blackwood case in jeopardy! Davies felt the weight of it all. He re-examined the safe house himself. He noticed a faint scratch mark near the bathroom window latch. It was almost invisible to the naked eye. Could Pendleton have been coerced, or did he leave willingly? The latter seemed improbable given the stakes. He was not a man prone to rash decisions. Then, a peculiar detail emerged. Pendleton's reading glasses were missing. He was notoriously short-sighted. He never went anywhere without them. Yet, they were not in the safe house. This small, seemingly insignificant item bothered Davies. Why take them if he was abducted in a hurry? Why leave them if he fled willingly but forgot them? It was a tiny anomaly in a sea of confusion. It suggested a plan, perhaps not his own. The investigation felt like groping in a dense fog. Days turned into a week. Arthur Pendleton remained missing. The search yielded nothing but dead ends. Hope began to dwindle. Then came the twist. Financial records, previously overlooked, showed Pendleton had recently made a large unexplained cash withdrawal, just days before his disappearance. This was completely out of character. Had he been planning to run all along? Was he bribed? Or was he perhaps not the innocent victim everyone presumed him to be? The narrative began to shift. The prosecution was forced to request a postponement of the trial. Lord Blackwood's lawyers naturally objected strenuously. They argued for a dismissal. The case against their client was crumbling. Without Pendleton, the intricate web of evidence threatened to unravel completely. The city held its breath. Was this the end of the Blackwood Manor mystery? Had the powerful Lord Alistair Blackwood outmaneuvered them all once again? The suspense was almost unbearable. Davies felt a profound sense of failure. The disappearance had a chilling effect. Other potential witnesses, if any existed, would surely be too terrified to come forward now. The message was clear. Silence was golden, and perhaps safer. The case against Blackwood, once so promising, now hung by the thinnest of threads. The public's faith in the justice system was shaken. If a key witness could vanish from under police protection, who was truly safe? The questions echoed in the empty courtroom. What truly happened to Arthur Pendleton? Was he a victim of foul play, silenced by Blackwood's ruthless machinations? Did he flee, bought off or scared into oblivion? Or was there a third, more complex explanation, hidden deep within the shadows of this perplexing case? The truth remained elusive. The file on Arthur Pendleton remained open, and the unsettling silence surrounding his vanishing act left a permanent stain on the Blackwood Manor mystery, a chilling testament to secrets that might never be unearthed.